The notification popped up on my phone during my morning coffee. A text from Dad. Saw your new car on Instagram. Impressive, we should talk. 3 years of silence, and now this. I could still picture my wedding reception, the photographer asking where my family was, the empty head table, the quiet shame of explaining they had other priorities. My dad thought he was reaching out to his successful daughter. What he didn't know was that I'd already given away most of my fortune. This conversation was going to be interesting. I'm Aurora, and I'm 29 years old. That Lamborghini in my Instagram post wasn't just a car, it was proof that I didn't need their approval anymore. My AI startup had just been acquired by Google for $50 million, and I'd built every line of code without a single word of encouragement from my family. The Lamborghini represented something they'd never given me: freedom, independence, the power to choose who deserves a place in my life. I was about to use this moment to finally set boundaries with people who never saw my worth. If you've ever been pushed aside by your family, subscribe right now and share your story below. This community actually listens. It started when I was 8 years old, Christmas morning 1998. My sister Emma unwrapped a brand new Dell computer while I got a Barbie dream house. I asked why she got the computer, and Mom said, "Emma's going to be an engineer someday. You should focus on more appropriate things for girls." I spent that entire Christmas day playing with Emma's computer instead of my dolls. I taught myself to make shapes move across the screen using simple commands. When I showed Dad what I'd learned, he patted my head and said, "That's nice, sweetheart. Now go help your mother with dinner." By middle school, I was obsessed with programming. I'd sneak onto Emma's computer every chance I got, learning HTML and basic JavaScript from library books. When I was 14, I entered a national coding competition. I spent 3 months building a website that helped students organize their homework and track assignments. The night before the competition, Emma had a volleyball playoff game. "We can't miss Emma's game," Mom explained while I stood there in my best dress, ready for the awards ceremony. "She might get a scholarship. Your computer thing is just a hobby." I won first place that night. The trophy sits on my bookshelf now, but my parents never saw me accept it. They never even asked how I did. College was worse. I applied to Stanford for computer science with a partial scholarship. I needed $12,000 for the remaining tuition. I sat down with my parents during my senior year of high school, excited to share my acceptance letter. "Computer science?" Dad frowned. "Aurora, that's not realistic. You should study something practical like teaching or nursing, something stable." "But I already have a partial scholarship," I said. "I just need help with the rest." Mom shook her head. "We're not wasting money on this fantasy. Emma needs our help with her business degree. She has real potential." Emma, who barely graduated high school. Emma, who changed her major 3 times. Emma, who got $50,000 for a degree she never finished. I worked 3 jobs to pay for Stanford. I cleaned offices at night, tutored kids on weekends, and delivered food between classes. While Emma got a new car for her 20th birthday, I was eating instant ramen and sleeping in the computer lab to save money on heating bills. After graduation, I moved back home temporarily while I applied for tech jobs. That's when I made the mistake of sharing my biggest dream with them. I'd been working on an artificial intelligence algorithm in my spare time. Something that could help doctors diagnose diseases faster and more accurately. "I want to start my own company," I announced at dinner one night. "I think I've created something revolutionary." Emma laughed first. "Aurora thinks she's going to be the next Steve Jobs." Dad chuckled. "Sweetheart, you can't just play with computers in your garage and expect to become a millionaire. Get a real job with benefits and security." "But what if this actually works?" I pressed. "What if I can change how medicine works?" "Then someone smarter than you will figure it out first," Mom said, cutting her chicken. "Stop chasing fantasies." That conversation happened on a Tuesday. By Thursday, I'd moved out and never looked back. The final blow came 3 years ago. My wedding day. I'd sent them invitations 8 weeks early, called to confirm they were coming. Even reserved them front row seats. The morning of my ceremony, Emma called. "I'm having my baby shower today. Mom and Dad are coming. Sorry, but family comes first." "I am family," I whispered into the phone. "You know what I mean," Emma replied. "This is important. Your wedding is just a party." I walked down that aisle to 12 people. My college friends, my mentor Professor Chen, and my fiancé David's small family. The photographer kept asking if we should wait for more guests. I kept saying they weren't coming. That empty church was the moment I realized something important. I'd been chasing the approval of people who would never see my worth. It was time to build something they couldn't ignore. After my wedding, I threw myself into my AI project with nothing to lose. I moved into a tiny studio apartment in San Francisco, sleeping on an air mattress and eating dollar store pasta. David supported my dream, even when his savings account funded our groceries for 6 months straight. I worked 18-hour days, coding until my eyes burned and my fingers cramped. The algorithm I'd been developing could analyze medical scans and identify potential tumors with 96% accuracy. Better than most human radiologists. I knew I had something special, but I needed investors to believe in it too. The first pitch meeting was a disaster. 3 men in expensive suits listened for 5 minutes before one interrupted. "This is interesting, but you don't have the experience to scale something this complex. Maybe consider licensing your idea to an established company." The second meeting went worse. "Young lady, medical AI is dominated by companies with billion-dollar budgets. What makes you think you can compete?" By the third rejection, I was running out of money and hope. David was working double shifts at his engineering job just to keep us afloat. I remember one night, sitting on our floor eating instant ramen again, wondering if my parents were right. Maybe I was chasing an impossible dream. But something inside me refused to quit. I spent another year refining the algorithm, adding features, making it faster and more accurate. I lived on 3 hours of sleep and survived on determination alone. My code became my obsession, my masterpiece, my proof that I belonged in this world. The breakthrough came during my 47th pitch meeting. Dr. Sarah Chen from MedTech Ventures actually understood what I'd built. She asked technical questions, challenged my assumptions, and spent 3 hours reviewing my data. At the end of the meeting, she said 5 words that changed everything. "We want to invest in you. $2 million. Enough to hire a small team, rent proper office space, and stop eating pasta for every meal." But I still didn't tell my family. They dismissed my dreams so many times that sharing good news felt pointless. The next 3 years blurred together. Clinical trials, regulatory approvals, partnerships with major hospitals. My algorithm was saving lives, helping doctors catch cancers earlier than ever before. I was working 90-hour weeks, but for the first time in my life, I felt like I was exactly where I belonged. Then Google called. They'd been watching our progress, studying our results, and they wanted to acquire the entire company. $50 million for technology I'd started coding in my garage while my family called it a hobby. I signed the papers on a Tuesday morning in Mountain View. The same day of the week my mother had told me to stop chasing fantasies. I walked out of that conference room with more money than my entire extended family would see in their lifetimes. And I still didn't call them. Success tastes different when you've earned it completely alone. The morning after Dad's text, I called Maya, my college roommate, and the only person who truly understood my family situation. She'd been my maid of honor at that empty wedding ceremony. "Aurora, I saw your Instagram post. That Lamborghini is gorgeous," Maya said. "But I'm guessing this isn't a celebration call." "My dad texted me," I said, reading her the message. 3 years of silence, and now suddenly he wants to talk. Maya groaned. "Let me guess. He saw the car and decided you're worth knowing again." That's exactly what happened. "Maya, they have no idea about the Google acquisition. They think I'm some struggling programmer who got lucky with a car purchase." "Wait, you never told them about the buyout?" Maya's voice got sharp. "Aurora, you built a $50 million company and your own family doesn't know? Why would I tell them? They called my work a fantasy. They missed my wedding for Emma's baby shower. They made their choice." Maya was quiet for a moment. "What are you going to do?" "I'd been thinking about that all night. I'm going to tell him the truth, but not the truth he's expecting." "What do you mean?" "I donated $40 million to create coding scholarships for underprivileged girls. I kept enough to live comfortably, but most of it's already helping other people's daughters pursue their dreams." Maya laughed, but it wasn't happy. "Your parents are going to lose their minds." "Good. Maybe they'll finally understand what they lost when they chose Emma over me for 20 years. I thought about my real family. Maya, who'd helped me move to San Francisco. Professor Chen, who'd written recommendation letters when I applied for funding. David, who'd believed in me when venture capitalists wouldn't. My small team of developers who'd worked endless hours to make the algorithm perfect. I'm planning a dinner, I said, for everyone who actually supported me. Will you help me organize it? Absolutely. It's time you celebrated with people who deserve to be there. For the first time in 3 years, I felt ready to face my family. Not because I needed their approval, but because I finally had the strength to show them exactly what they'd missed. I reserved the private dining room at Meridian, the restaurant where I'd recently become a silent partner. 20 people who'd believed in me when my own family wouldn't. Maya flew in from Portland. Professor Chen drove down from Stanford. My development team, my early investors, David's supportive parents, and the few cousins who'd actually shown up to my wedding. The room glowed with warm candlelight and fresh white orchids. I'd spent 3 days planning every detail. Each place setting had a personalized letter thanking each person for their specific role in my journey. For Maya, I wrote about the nights she'd stayed up helping me practice pitch presentations. For Professor Chen, I thanked her for teaching me that intelligence has nothing to do with gender. David squeezed my hand as people filled the room. This is perfect, he whispered. Look at all the love in here. He was right. The room buzzed with genuine warmth. These people knew my story, my struggles, my victories. They'd watched me code until 3 a.m. and celebrate small breakthroughs with cheap wine and pizza. During dinner, I stood up with my champagne glass. My hands shook slightly, but my voice stayed strong. 3 years ago, I got married with only 12 people in the church. I began. Some people saw that as failure. I see it differently now. Those 12 people, there were the right 12 people. Everyone in this room chose to invest in me when it would have been easier to doubt. Maya wiped her eyes. Professor Chen nodded encouragingly. Tonight, I want to announce something special. I've established the Code Dreams Foundation with $40 million from my recent acquisition. We're providing full scholarships for underprivileged girls who want to study computer science. The room erupted in applause. My developer Sarah stood up first. Aurora, this is incredible. You're changing lives. Maya raised her glass. To Aurora, who built an empire while others built excuses. Who proved that the right family isn't about blood, it's about belief. As everyone toasted, I felt something I'd never experienced with my birth family. Complete acceptance. These people celebrated my success without jealousy, supported my dreams without conditions, and loved me without requiring me to shrink myself to make them comfortable. My phone sat silent on the table. No messages from Emma, no calls from my parents. They had no idea this celebration was happening, no clue about the foundation I'd created, no understanding of the life I'd built without them. For the first time in 29 years, their absence felt like a gift instead of a wound. The next morning, I responded to Dad's text with complete honesty. Thanks for reaching out. My company was acquired by Google for $50 million. I've donated most of it to help girls pursue computer science. Would love to catch up. My phone rang within 10 minutes. Aurora? What do you mean you donated our money? Dad's voice was sharp, angry. Not congratulatory, not proud. Angry. It wasn't your money, Dad. It was mine. From the company you called a fantasy. But family takes care of family. You can't just give away millions to strangers when your sister has student loans and we have a mortgage. I heard Mom's voice in the background. Put her on speaker, Richard. Aurora. Mom's voice cut through the phone like ice. How could you be so selfish? Emma's struggling with 2 kids and you're throwing money at people you don't even know. People I don't know? I felt my composure cracking. You mean girls like me? Girls whose families don't believe in them? Emma grabbed the phone. This is ridiculous, Aurora. You owe us. We're blood. These random girls are nothing to you. They're everything to me, I said quietly. They're me at 14, winning coding competitions while my family attends volleyball games. That's different, Emma snapped. You're being dramatic. Maya, who'd been listening from across my kitchen, held out her hand. I gave her the phone. This is Maya, she said calmly. I was Aurora's maid of honor at the wedding none of you attended. I watched her eat instant ramen for 3 years while building a company that's now helping thousands of people. You abandoned her when she needed support, and now you want to profit from her success? The line went quiet. Aurora invested in people who invested in her. Maya continued. That was never you. I took the phone back. I built this life without you. I'll continue living it the same way. I hung up. My hands weren't shaking anymore. Within hours, my phone filled with messages from the people who mattered. Maya texted photos from last night's dinner with heart emojis. Professor Chen sent a long email about how proud she was of the scholarship foundation. David's mom called to say she was bragging about me to her entire book club. The foundation's application portal crashed from overwhelming response. Over 3,000 girls applied for coding scholarships in the first week. Their essays brought me to tears. Stories of parents who didn't believe in them, teachers who steered them away from math, families who thought technology was too hard for girls. I spent my Saturday reading applications, remembering myself at their age, brilliant girls who just needed someone to believe in their potential, Maya, and I started planning next year's celebration dinner. Same date every year, she suggested. The anniversary of your Google acquisition. Our new family tradition, I agreed. For the first time in my life, I felt complete peace about my family situation. I'd built something meaningful with people who deserved to be part of it. My birth family's absence no longer felt like rejection. It felt like freedom. The girls receiving scholarships would never doubt their worth the way I had. That legacy meant more than any family approval ever could. Success isn't about proving yourself to people who never believed in you. It's about building a life so fulfilling that their opinion becomes irrelevant. I spent 29 years chasing validation from people who saw my dreams as threats to their comfort zone. Now, I invest in people who invest in me. I celebrate with people who celebrated my small victories before the big ones came. I build tables where everyone has earned their seat through loyalty, not DNA. If you know what it feels like to be the outsider, subscribe and share your story below. This community understands what it means to succeed, despite the people who should have supported you first. Blood doesn't make family. Loyalty, support, and love do. Choose your family wisely, and never apologize for outgrowing people who tried to keep you small.